Today's Arukh HaShulchan is being sponsored by Rabbi Yonasan Ezra Ben Chana Feigo for Schus Vatzloch and Shiduchim. Today we are doing your there Siman Ches Siv Gimel to Siman Tes Siv Beis. Today is day 41 of the Supplemental Arukh HaShulchan Yomi cycle. Gimel. That which is they say that that no matter how small the knife is, it's okay if you do a back and forth motion. Ain't both. It's only done about by a bird of a behemoth, not by an animal. Where the neck is a significant pull. And when the knife is very small, I feel you can't check even if you're going back and forth, unless it's something close to applying pressure. It's the Rif and the Rach. And the Rach is brought in the Ran on the Rif. They write the by animal you need to have, besides the length of the neck, which is the entirety. Besides that, also a little bit beyond the neck. The only difference is that between if you halacha by itself or hava by itself and halacha and hava together. That if you go back and forth, you need to have the whole neck, but you don't need the length of the knife to extend a full neck length beyond the neck. It says here in the brackets, with the Vrayim, according to these, showing kosher. Now that says the knife has to be a kosher, and it suffices. It's an extent beyond the neck. Some say, oh, the gamba open and close up kosher. Even by bird require the full extent of the neck and something beyond the length of the neck. The brackets says that the kosher is going a little bit beyond the neck. Even though those who are them, many Gdolim and Paskin like the Rif and the Rach, the Lalocha, the Amshashlema and the Bach. Pasha, it's obvious that the Maisa English of Katan shouldn't check even a small bird, unless you have some appropriate extent of the knife, not with a very small knife. On the contrary, you shouldn't check a bird with the knife of a large animal, covered, which is heavy. And it's likely you're going to have to apply pressure in order for it to work. With Jews, you say unless it's a very extenuating circumstances, and you do it with great care. The bracket says this is also the possible to be short. Dav Kasar Rabbeinu Ramah writes, the Misha Lo Yuchal L'Shaer, so you can't reckon this, Yikach Orech Sakin Chimlo Shtei Tzavin Sh'osu Tavish Shechtin. Should take a knife which is the extent of 2 necks or whatever Shei Shechting. B'yeshim, some say L'Shar B'Yudal as boats, to use 14 finger breadths. Ramaz Zeh Shneimar Shchatem B'Zeh. It says you should check with this, Pasuk Shmuel Aleph Yudalad, B'Zeh in Gematria is for Minyana Yudalad. As for Ad Kan Lashono, it's 14. Ramazay Yisrael Medrash Parshas Nosa B'Zel Shona. It says this is the allusion to this derivation. Ma'u Shchatem B'Zeh. What does it mean? Shchatem B'Zeh in that pasuk of Shmuel. Rabban Amrei Sakin Herolohem. He showed him a knife. Kamo Yatzorich Leo Shir Arukh. What is the extent of its length? Minyan B'Zeh. The number B'Zeh. Beis is train. 2 Beis is 2, Zayin is Shiva, Zayin is 7, Hey is Chamisha, V'chule, Ayin Shom. Ve'en elu remez ba'am, it's only a hint. I feel if he remez zeh, ain't elu gasos, and even according to this hint, it's only for large animals. Because you see, Shom, like it says there, V'agishu kol am ish shoro, V'kom v'shutu shom, all the people gave over their oxen, and they shechted them. Lo b'dakus opos, it doesn't apply to small animals and to birds. V'achush me'et she'opos koshel yishchol b'sakin aruch, and experience indicates, or sense indicate that it's hard to shecht a knife with such a bird with such a long knife. Brackets, he says, this is specifically for a shor or a seh, an ox or a smaller animal. One gets the impression that the Arukh HaShulchan was an expert in not just the halachos of shechita, but also in the practice of shechita. Test din shana b'sakin l'better somebody who shechs with a white hot knife. Isa Gomorre. It says in the Gemara. Um, Liban sakin bor if you whiten a knife in heat. Bashir Liban is Usham in the shear of whitening. It says in Ushami. It's not a man that sparks come off of the blade. But show money show with it. Shchita kasha. Don't say that the heat burnt the simon before the completion of shchita and the animal became a treifa. The chidudo shel sakin kodem libono. The sharpness of the knife precedes its heat. Even though the sides of the knife, when the sides of the knife enter the incision, the sides can burn the simon. We're not concerned with this either. The beis shchita mirvach rovach. The place where you shecht, it expands outwards. The chatach misarchev, the incision becomes wider on the sides of the knife. You can on both sides. But it gives some the only thing which actually comes into contact with the neck is the sharpness of the knife. Who typhus can leave when it takes effect before the heat. The shas not distinguish if the knife is very sharp or not. Or whether the heat is very strong or not. The yesh gam libun kalk and vorber chaim sin tafnun alf. Even though we know that in terms of hilchos hagolos kalim, there's such a thing as a libun kal, a lighter form of heat. I believe that's when straw burns. Doesn't distinguish between an animal and a bird. Even though by a bird the trachea and esophagus are soft, and it's much easier for them to get burned from the heat. The flip side of that is that in the same proportion, the sharpness of the knife takes effect earlier. Don't ask a question. It's easy, valid question. That if sparks are flying from the knife, maybe the sparks are going to burn the simonim. We can say sparks have no substance and therefore they're not going to burn anything. It says in brackets, so pergim with the Shabbos and Mentaf Mem Zayin. Base Marif does not bring this statement. Okay, I thought pulleys are not shchir. It says since it's not something which is very not prevalent, lo chashash is not concerned to bring it down. But kama dinim sheishmi b'shchita dam zed. There's several halachos. Maybe he doesn't bring out pulleys either, which he leaves out. He'll shchita on this account. Oh yeah, what do you know? It says here. I got it. Yeah. Like somebody who puts a knife on a pulley. It's obvious this is not prevalent at all. Well, actually, you're saying that this case over here is not shchich at all. You have to check the knife when it's still hot. It has no nick. How could you check it if it's so hot? And normally, if you're going to make it that hot, it's unlikely that it's going to have some nick. Perhaps you also have a difference between various different degrees of heat and between various degrees of sharpness. The difference between animals and birds. Therefore, it's impractical. He did not bring it down. Some say he rejects this entire discussion from halacha. It's the Rosh and the Ran, and tomorrow we will see why he possibly rejects this entire conversation. And that's it for today.